a moment of many firsts for Mexico. The country has elected its first female president and first president with Jewish heritage. Preliminary results from Mexico's Electoral Institute show Claudia Sheinbaum as the winner of Sunday's presidential election, winning as much as 60% of the vote. Her administration will face several challenges, though, including security, organized crime, and setting the tone, of course, for the pivotal US-Mexico bilateral relationship. For now, though, thousands of people have been celebrating this groundbreaking moment. Have a listen.
This is a great victory for the first woman president. For the first time in over 200 years of elections in Mexico, with the support of the people, a woman has arrived to power. A leftist woman who is committed to all the needs of the Mexican people.
Let's get more on all of this. Gustavo Valdez has been tracking this historic moment and joins us live from Mexico City. Gustavo, good to see you. I mean, it is an historic win, breaking through, as that gentleman saying, 200 years of male governments. But now, Gustavo, the hard work truly begins. Just talk us through how this win is being received in Mexico and, of course, the challenges, and there are many, that Sheinbaum faces here.
Hi, Isa. Well, yeah, the celebration almost felt a little bit anticlimactic, in part because it came so late or early in the morning. There was a delay announcing their results, and voters had told us that they had already known that they were going to have a female president because the two top contenders were women. So they had already gotten used to the idea that the next president was going to be a woman, yet they celebrated. They know there are a lot of challenges ahead, public safety being their main concern, all the foreign relations, not only with the United States, but also countries south of the Mexican border, but they all seem ready to have a woman to take the reins of their country.
Claudia Sheinbaum has made history as the first woman projected to be the next president of Mexico. The 61-year-old handily defeated her two opponents with at least 58% of the vote, according to the National Electoral Institute.
Nuestro deber es y será siempre.
Our duty is and always will be to look after each Mexican without distinctions. Although many Mexican women and Mexican men don't agree fully with our project, we will walk in peace and harmony to build a fairer and more prosperous Mexico.
Besides being the first woman set to become president, she would be the first one of Jewish ancestry. Her grandparents migrated from Eastern Europe, fleeing Nazi persecution, although she rarely mentions her religious background. Her parents were leftists, according to a biography by journalist Arturo Cano, in which Sheinbaum says that she grew up talking about politics all day with her parents. But her first career is academia. She has a PhD in environmental engineering, focused in renewable energy and climate change. Her introduction to politics happened in 2000, when she became Mexico City's environmental minister under the head of government Andrés Manuel López Obrador. She became part of his team during his 3 presidential campaigns, and in 2018, when he won the presidency, she was elected chief of government of Mexico City. She pledged to continue the policies of López Obrador with a 5-point plan: increase public safety, free public education, fight poverty through social programs and a higher minimum wage, better regulation of water resources, and transition to renewable energies. On foreign affairs, she has pledged to protect Mexico's sovereignty, and while recognizing the importance of their relationship with the United States, she wants to focus on growing ties with Central and South American nations.
Now today, Claudia Sheinbaum has been quiet, judging by the messages on social media. She's been fielding a lot of calls from world leaders who have congratulated her in the victory. And perhaps her first, the first clue we might get about how her next government, the next 6 years is going to be, could come tomorrow, because we're expecting the United States President Biden to announce some changes to U.S. policy regarding migration, and for that they're going to need a buy-in from Mexico. Obviously, Andrés Manuel López Obrador it's still the one making those decisions. But being that technically we are already in a transition and they work too close together, it would be interesting to see if she has something to say about how she feels about whatever is going to be announced tomorrow in Washington.
And Gustavo, just focusing here on what you've been hearing from people from voters really in the last 24 hours, what would you say was the number one priority that they want to see Claudia Sheinbaum hit first and foremost?
Their number 1, 2, and 3 priorities: security, security, security. They are tired of the violence. They didn't like that this political cycle, they saw about 200 people killed, 30 of those or more were candidates. They see the violence across the country and they don't feel safe. So that is their main priority, and that's what they would like to see change. And here's also another question mark as to how she is going to approach this issue. If she continues the policies of Andrés Manuel López Obrador, which she has said that she will do, but he has taken a hands-off approach. He hasn't really engaged the army or the police forces to go after the cartels or organized crime, and many think that is part of the problem. Or if she's going to take another route and break from the get-go with her predecessor.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing whether she keeps to that hugs, not bullets policy, of course, from AMLO. Gustavo, great to see you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Well, Sunday's vote came just really 5 months before the US presidential election, where immigration, as you heard there from Gustavo, is one of the top issues. Joining us now from Washington, D.C. is Jason Marzak, who is the Senior Director of Latin American Center at the Atlantic Council. Jason, great to have you on the show. Look, I think it's historic, of course. We've been saying it pretty much all day. She has indeed broken the glass ceiling and the ceiling in Mexican politics. So what is it really about Sheinbaum that has appealed, would you say, to the roughly 60% of the Mexican population? I mean, how has she won them over here?
Thank you, Isa. She won them over because of this continuity of the policy of the AMLO presidency. President López Obrador is incredibly popular in Mexico. He's raised wages for workers. He has had large infrastructure projects, especially in the south of Mexico, where many people can see some of the tangible benefits that government can provide. So she's been able to build off of that popularity of AMLO with frankly, a margin of victory that even surpasses AMLO's margin of victory when he won 6 years ago. She'll win it by at least 5 percentage points more than when he secured the presidency. So she will come into office with an even larger, more clear mandate than AMLO came into office, and she will do so with sizable representation by her party and the coalition in the Mexican Congress.
On that point, Jason, I mean, how much do you think that perhaps she may struggle here to just step out of AMLO's shadow? I mean, she has promised, we heard her say last night, she promised to preserve his legacy. How much does she need him, in your view? Does she need him at all in that relationship?
I think that because I think she will continue the policies of AMLO, but I think she will also be her own president. I had the opportunity to sit down with her last year when she was in Denver for the Cities of the Americas, and I found her to be incredibly pragmatic, very technical, and very firm grasp of the issues. As head of government in Mexico City as well, the first time I went to go meet with her team, they had a 220-page plan of action for how the government will be run. So she has clear ideas. She has a clear policy direction, but at the same time, she does believe in the policies of President López Obrador and will continue that general direction that the president has laid out.
And I'm not sure whether you were able, Jason, to hear our correspondent, Gustavo Valdez, in Mexico City, when I asked him what were the main priorities that they would like to see her really target, really hit off the bat. And he said, security, security, security. To talk to that, I mean, that we know it's one of the main concerns, right? Organized crime, violence and security. And we all know, looking at least at the numbers when I was looking at in the last kind of 48 hours, that AMLO's policy of abrazos, no balazos, the hugs, not bullets strategy, that has not worked. Have we seen anything new from her? Because we have been seeing from AMLO an over-reliance here on the military. So what can we expect from her?
You know, she talked about during the campaign a continuation of the hugs and not bullets policy. At the same time, though, she's talked about investing further in social programs, education programs to be able to find alternatives than going into the illicit world. I think that as your correspondent said, security is priority 1 through 3, maybe even priority 1 through 5 for the Mexican people. The number of candidates that were killed during the election, also the rate of homicide that has increased over the course of the next sexennium. So Mexican voters overwhelmingly brought her into office. It's a reflection of their support for President Lopez Obrador from insofar as improving their day-to-day lives. But there is general frustration with the security policies of the president. And there's also frustration on the U.S. side with regard to our security relationship, and especially the issue of fentanyl that continues to come across the U.S.-Mexico border.